everyone, and welcome to my booktube channel, A Time for Reading. My name's Sharon, and I am a book lover. This is my very first booktube video, and I wanted to do the booktube newbie tag. I'm hoping that the rest of this video will involve me actually saying words that make sense. So my very first question is, why start this channel? I decided to start this booktube channel for some of the reasons I mentioned earlier. I want to talk about books. I want more of an excuse to read more than I already do. Really, I wanted to find people that would recommend even more books for me. And I also just wanted to contribute to the community. I feel like booktube has become probably my favorite part of the internet. Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit obsessed. And I wanted to create something to contribute to that. The reason I started this channel was mainly to find other bookish people, to share bookish content, to talk about books I'm crazy excited about, because I get really hyped about books that I've just read, and I want to be able to talk more about them. I want to be able to talk about the arcs I've received. I have quite a few coming up in the next couple months that I want to make sure that I have a platform to talk about them on, because I feel like they deserve it. All of them have like amazing descriptions, and I'm just so excited to get into them. And I really just want to be able to talk about books that I love. Next question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to booktube? So for me, there are times in my like weeks or months or whatever where I would rather be focused on my art and focus on drawing and painting and getting better at that. Or there are times where I want to focus on my writing. Like right now, my current story idea is very much in the incubator phase. It's definitely changed and grown a lot just from sitting in my brain and kind of like marinating in there in my brain juices. I'm just gonna pretend I never said that, and I hope you guys will go with that. But it's definitely just been morphing a lot. But so right now, the focus has been on reading and just like letting myself really take in as much creative material as possible, but then, you know, hoping to eventually get to my novel, which I do want to finish this year. That's one of my goals. I will be tracking on here. And the other thing I wanted to do this year was lose weight, which I'll probably mention at points in time and things like that. And I think the unique aspects I would bring is definitely my art and the writing. And I also have a bunch of fun challenges I really want to put on myself to push myself out of my comfort zone. I definitely found some of my favorite books that way, by pushing myself out of my comfort zone and reading things that were not my first pick. Were not the pick that was like my obvious pick. I think that's a better way to describe it. They weren't my obvious pick. They weren't like things that I know I would like reading, but then I ended up loving and getting obsessed with and finding amazing. So I want to find more books like that, but in order to do that, I need to challenge myself more. I already have some challenges that I definitely want to get underway. And then also, my nephew will be joining us in some of my videos. He's already really stoked about it. He's asked me when the heck he gets to be part of my videos. Again, I have been planning on doing this for a while, so he is planning on keeping me in check in regards to that. So we will see. One is, what are you most excited for about this new channel? Meeting people. Like, honestly, I think that's the thing I'm most excited for, and hopefully getting some book recommendations from people that could end up being my new favorite book of all time. I think that would be the most exciting. Beyond that, just getting to communicate with new people about books, hopefully getting to speak with other booktubers, maybe do collaborations in the future. That would be really cool if that ever happens. That would be amazing. I think I'd really enjoy that. And then next question is, why do you love reading? Why do I love reading? So for me, reading is like, it just, whenever I'm reading, I feel like I'm just 10 times more engaged than when I'm watching a show. When I'm watching TV, watching Netflix or whatever, I'm almost always doing something else at the exact same time. What book or series got you into reading? There's a lot. I feel like. I think the thing that got me most into reading is because my parents didn't want me to read a lot. They hated it. They literally could not stand that I like to read. They found it super annoying and inconvenient to them. So I liked it all the more because they were so annoying about it. I think my first ever chapter books I remember owning were the Bernstein Bears. They were like 2 mystery ones. And I was super into that. I loved mysteries. I still do. Mysteries and thrillers are still one of my favorite genres. Um, but yeah, I was super into that. But I was binge reading back then. And I remember I got very into the Babysitter's Club, Nancy Drew. I have a couple of those, and that's actually one of the things that I wanted to do eventually was to like reread those. I'm so excited to do that one day. So questions for favorite booktubers. Okay, so I have a couple favorite booktubers. Read by Zoe being one. Like the entire Bookmark channel. Love all of them. They're amazing. Like all 3 of them. So there's Zoe, Haley, and Hannah. All 3 of them are great. I think out of the 3, my favorite Zoe, but I think she was one of my first that I'd ever watched. And her 24-hour readathons are freaking gold. They're literally epic gold. I've watched them multiple times. Like her whole family is just like the cutest thing ever. They're just beyond precious. My other favorites, I would say, are like The Insane Reader, Books and Lala. Holy crap. I love Books and Lala. I feel like I relate to her a lot more as far as like responsibilities and stuff go. But I think all of them are just like really, really fun to watch. And then the other one I really like is Read with Cindy or Read by Cindy. I always forget. I always just think of her as Cindy. But I first saw her on Bookmarked and I was like, oh my god, this girl and her sense of humor is freaking amazing. I have to watch more. So I've been watching her ever since. And I love the energy that she brings. But I think with all of them, my questions would be more in the sense of like, you know, how are you guys so awesome? Like, I just feel like all of them have such unique personalities, and that's what makes them fun to watch. How do you find time for it? I think Books and Law, I think my biggest question would be like, how do you find the time to edit and post as many videos as you do? Because she posts like crazy. There's so many videos all the time, and she has like a kid, like a whole kid, and like a job, and like a husband. Like, there's a lot of things happening there. So, and I know she's talked on this before, so she's technically already answered the question, but I'm like, I want a written out schedule, girl. Like, I want to see like timestamps of what you're doing at what points of the day, and so I can like copy that because that shit's amazing. She's awesome. I love her. What challenges do you foresee with BookTube that would be the hardest to overcome? So I kind of touched on this just by talking about Books and Lala. My biggest challenge, I feel like, is trying to find time to post videos. Well, to record and post videos. Record and edit and post. I don't even know all the steps, apparently. But I know that's going to be my biggest challenge. Mainly because I work full time. And by work full time, I mean, like, I have days where I start my day at, like, 6 or 7 a.m. and I don't stop until like 11:30, 12 at night. And that's because I'm physically forcing myself to stop. Like, put it away, go to bed because my eyes are twitching and watering and dry at the same damn time, because that makes sense because I spend all day like working. My job is amazing. Like, I love it. But it's demanding too. Like, it takes a lot out of me. But there are also days where I'm just like regular 8:30 to 5, and I get home at like 6. So like finding time to post videos, like record things, edit everything, post it, put it out there in the world. Like, I'm sure there's gonna be times where I post videos and it's like bare minimum editing just to make sure I get it out there. But I'm hoping that y'all will be cool with that. As a South Indian booktuber, like, I haven't seen a lot of South Indian booktubers. I don't even know how to search that. Like, I don't. I find booktubers because someone else has like recommended them at some point. I try to like add as many as I can and like randomly watch videos. I really do want to be able to join this community and be representation for someone else out there who is South Indian and doesn't feel like they're seeing someone who looks like them posting videos. So yeah, trying to join that. Um, Next is, when did you start reading? So this one actually comes with a funny story for me. When I was in first grade, our teacher had us write down, like, what are 3 things that we really wish we could do, or like really wish for in our lives. And like, I was like, man, like, there's one thing I really, really want to do, and it's, I really wish I knew how to read. So I write this down, like, I wish I knew how to read. And like, my teacher was probably like, oh my God, she's such a moron. Like, she comes over and she's like, Sharon, you know you wrote this, right? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, what does it say? And I'm like, it says that I wish I knew how to read. And she's like, Sharon, you know how to read. You just read that. And I was like, oh my God, I can read? What? My mind was like exploding in my head. I was like, holy crap, stop the presses. I can read. This is amazing. And I'm just, oh my God. I have no words. I have no words for who that child was. That child was a nut. But she knew how important reading was, so there's that. So yeah, I'd say I started reading consciously when I was in first grade. So next is, where do you read? So I read a lot of different places, like anywhere I can I read. Depends if my book's with me or not. If it's an audiobook, I'll read a lot when I'm driving, when I'm cleaning. So that's a lot more when I'm like walking around or just outside. But as far as like, where do I read when I'm home, if we're being more specific, my couch is one of my favorite spots. Like, I have my pillow set up in a way and my lamp set up in a way that's like very conducive to me sitting and reading there. And I also have a hammock in my living room. I'm not ashamed of this. I have the hammock because I wanted something where I could just lay back and read, and like, it reminds me of like being on vacation. Like I said, I work a lot, so I've made my apartment like as conducive to relaxation and chilling the hell out as much as possible. It's how I find my balance, is really purposefully relaxing and taking time for myself. What kinds of books do you like to read is the last question. So what kinds of books don't I like to read is probably a better question. Probably one type of book that I have zero interest in ever reading is true crime, because that's like a whole level of darkness I don't want to get to. Like, I love thrillers. I don't even mind gory thrillers or like crazy, creepy, dark thrillers, as long as it's fiction. If I have to imagine that this happened to an actual human being, I can't deal. Like, I can't. It just breaks my heart, and I can't deal with that. It's just too much darkness for me. The next closest I would say is like maybe horror, but to be fair, I haven't read a lot of horror, so we don't know yet. That's something I'm hoping to discover this year, because one of the books I want to read this year is It by Stephen King. So that's definitely on my list, so I could try out horror and see if I like it or not. I figure who better to start with than Stephen King, because he's supposed to be like the king of horror, so we will see. I'm really excited to see if I end up liking it or not, and kind of delve into it a little bit there. But I do like ghost stories and stuff like that, and I like stuff with supernatural things. I love magical realism books. I really like books with really strong characters, as well as a driving plot line. Like, I've definitely liked books that don't have a clear plot line. For instance, Cersei is not known for its like very clear plot line, but I was obsessed with that book. I loved it. I thought the writing was absolutely beautiful, and I just love learning about Cersei herself. I think in general, my first rule is strong characters, really great characterizations. And then my next thing is, does it have a really great plot? Now, I might still check it out if it doesn't, but when a book has a strong plot line, like, I absolutely love it. But I love sweeping stories that delve into a character too. And examples like Cersei or Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, while there are like some clear questions that we're trying to find out the answers to, it was more about her as a person over time. And I think for me, that's the biggest thing, is I want to care about the characters that I'm reading about. But with true crime, like, I feel like I would care too much. I'd automatically care because they're real people, and I would just like hate my life so much reading that. But I think that's probably the best way to describe my reading taste in general. So, and that's it for Newbie Book Tag. I rambled on for a long time. There's a lot of footage here, so I'm gonna have fun editing this later. Hey, learning curves. So thank you for joining me today. Thank you for joining me to talk about reading and talk about books, and I hope you join me for my next video too. Thanks. Bye.